Hello everyone, welcome to the Google Gemini tutorial. This is going to be a full tutorial of how to use Gemini Pro inside Google Bard. Some of the prompts that I'm going to show you today will also apply to those who have been upgraded to Gemini Ultra based on when you are going to be watching this video. Somewhere in 2024, you're going to have access to Gemini Ultra inside Google Bard. So first of all, I'm going to just give you a quick introduction about what is Google Gemini. Just like the other language learning models, this is a language learning model, and every AI tool that we use, the chatbots that we use, they rely on a specific language learning model. Just like ChatGPT relies on OpenAI, and then there are different versions. The OpenAI has its own language learning models like GPT-4, 4.5, and it's also going to launch GPT-5. So GPT-5 is the language learning model that ChatGPT uses, and ChatGPT is the interface, the chatbot that you use to access that particular language learning model. So first of all, I want you to head to Google Bard, and just to make sure what language learning model your Google Bard uses, just make sure you just put in the prompt there and say, what model are you using? Okay, that should be pretty much self-explanatory for Google Bard, but let's see what it comes back with. So I'm just going to ask what language model or what model you're using, and it says, I'm currently using the Gemini Pro language model, which is one of the most advanced language models by Google AI. It was first introduced in May 2023 and goes on and on explaining the features of the model. So this just makes sure that you are on the right model. You can also check when will I get, or will you be upgrading to Gemini Ultra. So Gemini has been available to me, Gemini Pro, and you can check with this prompt as well. And okay, so right now, while Gemini Ultra is more powerful and versatile, it needs more resources, etc. So it's not a very clear answer, but good to check, and we know that we are using Gemini Pro. So it's available for free. We don't have to pay additional for that. That's the first thing. Just check for that in the prompt so that you know which model you're on. Okay. One cool thing that I do want to show you, which I use often here, is, by the way, I'm on the dark theme of Google Bard. So if you think it looks different than you, then just go on the top right, click on the settings right here, and you'll be able to switch to the light theme or the dark theme, right? So this is the light theme, this is the dark theme. Okay. One cool thing that I use a lot is to click on the modify response, and this is something like the temperature setting that we have in language learning models. The temperature is how the response should be. Should it be shorter, longer? Also in terms of should be more creative. And usually when it comes to modifying the response with something like ChatGPT, you'll always have to give a prompt back, make it shorter, make it longer, make it simpler, make it more casual. But here you can just do it with a simple click. So you can say more casual, and it's going to change the response to something which is more casual. Let's say you're writing a blog post or a newsletter for your friends. You might want to make it more casual. So this is going to be slightly more fun than the response before. So think of it like this. I'm currently rocking the super cool Gemini Pro model like a decked out sports car. It's got all the bells and whistles for amazing conversation, but it's not the only ride on the block. Gemini Ultra is more like a trickle out monster truck, super powerful, and can handle anything you throw at it. So there have been data tests where the Gemini AI has beaten not just GPT, but also humans in a lot of different tests, which you can go to deepmind.google and just scroll on the landing page. You'll be able to see all of the different technologies there. And there are details about the blog, about the data points in which it beats all of the other models. So this is the data of Gemini Ultra versus human expert. Then it also compares it with GPT-4. By the way, we do have to wait for GPT-5 and then see the new comparison. But of course, there's a lot of these numbers where the technologies of Gemini have beaten GPT-4. All right. So that being said, now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the prompts. We're going to get into the prompts that we can use on Gemini Pro inside Google Bard that you probably cannot do with any other bot. So you cannot do that with ChatGPT, what I'm going to show you here. Okay. Now we're going to start with something cool. Let's start a new chat here. There's obviously a lot of options here that you can explore. And I do recommend you try these out because this will teach you how to write prompts. When it comes to the art of writing a prompt, there are things which you need to say in order to get a better response. So for example, here it's sort of pre-popping the prompt for you when I click on the option, and this is a great way to learn how to write a prompt. So things like explain it in simple terms, assuming I know nothing about this field could be very different as an output. Then saying explain it in details, assuming that I have 10 years of experience in growth marketing, that would give you something very different, right? So you can also check something like this. You are, if I click on the seasonal recipe idea, it says you are an expert chef. So that means it's not that you are just searching for a blog post and then summarizing it for me, but you're coming to me as an expert chef. So it's going to be more detailed. It's going to be precise and specific in how much ingredients to use, how many grams of this to put, how many grams of that to put. So it's not a joke, it's a proper Thanksgiving dinner, and I want to make a salad which stands out. So the way of writing prompts and how to learn that is, probably one of the best ways to do that is to just select one of these options and revise my writing, for example, and see what kind of phrases are they pre-populating you with. You are an expert editor, right? So act as a professional editor is another variation of this, which is known as the persona prompt pattern when it comes to prompt engineering. So this way you can actually learn. And look at this, this is so funny. Isn't it interesting how you can still read this despite all the mistakes? So what they're telling you, Google is playing around with you a little bit and also telling you, feel free to have fun with your prompts. It's okay to have these spelling mistakes because the AI model is smarter than you. Because I've seen a lot of people waste time in all of these details, fixing spelling mistakes in prompts, for example. People are extra nice to AI models. All of those things are not required. Okay, all of that being said, we're going to start off with something cool, okay? So how many emails did I get today? Now this is an interesting prompt, in fact a very interesting prompt for someone like me who probably wants to check the inbox that they have, and also wants to check it without having to switch out if I'm working on something, and also maybe wants a summary of things from the emails, or even wants to write a response to the emails using AI, because this is something I couldn't have done with GPT. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, these are the emails that you received today, and while I did not want to show you guys in this video what the emails are, it still says the subject lines, and I'm not going to blur it, it's fine. These are the emails that I have received today, and what are the subject lines of those emails? Who are they coming from? Okay, and then Gmail items considered for this response. These are the items that it has considered, so I can literally see the inbox right here inside Googlebot. Now this is just the tip of the iceberg. What you could also do is you could pick up certain emails, select certain emails, and then actually write responses of those emails. That's even more fun than just checking your emails. You could also say, summarize the last 3 emails that I got, okay, and which of those need to be responded to urgently, okay? So maybe I'm outside, I don't want to really get into the details. I just want to see, okay, what's the summary of the last 3 emails that I got? So let's see how it performs. Right, amazing speed as well. So the last 3 emails you received are, this is an event happening from one of your communities. Does it require an urgent response? No. Dive into this, blah, blah, blah. Does it require a response? No. Your photo bucket account has been deactivated. Definitely does not require an urgent response. I've been getting these emails forever. So that's like a good way to work with the AI. And then there's one interesting hack that my friend is using. What he's doing is he has created a separate Gmail inbox where he only gets newsletters, and then he uses Googlebot to summarize those newsletters into blog posts, and then he uses the AI to SEO optimize that blog and actually convert those newsletters into very nicely rewritten, repurposed forms of blog posts. And these are not his own newsletters, so he makes sure it's plagiarism free. He adds a few images here and there. But basically, if you have an inbox with 10 newsletters a day, you can publish 10 blog posts a day just by using Google Bard. And that's like a content empire that he's building on the side. Not me, but one of my friends. And this is something that I found an interesting use of using the Gemini model, which has access to your Gmail. By the way, in case there is any technical issue and you're not able to access this, just go on the settings option, the extensions option there, and make sure that your Google Workspace is turned on. You can also use @Gmail, @Drive, and @Docs, and then be able to summarize a doc and break it down, etc. So let's select this one. So something like, let me move this up, something like, find my resume title June 2023 from my drive and summarize it to a short paragraph personal statement. That's amazing. I may not have this because I've not had a resume for years, and definitely it's not titled June 2023, but it's really fun to see that this sort of an option is available, where it's now trying to search that particular document and summarize it into a short paragraph. So very cool things that you cannot do with something like ChatGPT, right? So we have the Gmail access. There's also another service, of course, which we all know of, which is YouTube, which I am a big fan of. I consume a lot of YouTube videos. I create a lot of YouTube videos. This video is going to go on my YouTube channel. So something I do is often I would just, while doing some keyword research, I ask some questions about Google Bard. For example, I am making a video about Gemini Pro inside Bard, right? Act as a professional video script writer and AI expert. I need it to be both professional script writer as well as an AI expert, so it understands the perspective that I want to go with in this video. Make an outline and list of talking points for the video, along with some cool prompts that I can show off in the video, right? So more than the understanding about what's happening in the space, people are more interested to see those cool prompts. So now it goes with, okay, attention grabbing hook, introduce Gemini Pro, which I did. I did my job well there, I believe. Briefly explain your expertise as a video scriptwriter. Okay, that's not very relevant. Demystifying Gemini Pro. So it's saying that, okay, you're going ahead as a video. So first and third point is very relevant for the first minute, which I did. Then we have explain the basic premise. So now it's marketing itself too much, which we did not do, which is fine. Comparing it with other language models is something that I'm doing throughout this video. So pretty good stuff. Now there's also prompts that it's, it could generate a Python code, it could solve a riddle and how I solved it using only Bard and so forth. There's a pretty good, bonus prompts, ask Bard to translate something, because languages and multi-language capability is something which is really good with Gemini, and it ranks much better in multi-language capability than something like GPT, right? So having some humor here and there is good. Like I said, you can also make this more casual if you're making a YouTube video, which is more fun. This is more like a tutorial, so I don't necessarily have to have a lot of jokes here, but I could make it more casual and make it more engaging, right? Now, talking about YouTube, what I do is you can use the @YouTube, for example, find similar videos about Gemini Pro on YouTube. So as you're doing the research, you might want to watch other videos to see what people are doing. I personally don't do this because then I get affected or biased by the talking points that they have in the video, and I'm not able to feel free while making the video. But this is a cool way to continue your research, where it says getting started with Gemini Pro on AI Studio. This is good for builders, developers. Outside of Bard, you can use it inside Google AI Studio, or Google's Gemini Pro model in 8 minutes, which is explaining the API. Again, very good for developers. And this seems like a promo by Google, so I don't mind checking this out.
One of the reasons we got interested in AI.
So this is like a promo by Google. So none of these 3 videos are actually a tutorial, but it's interesting. The first 2 are, but they are for developers. So that's good to know. Okay, this is what the kind of information that if I were to go on YouTube and search for Google Gemini Pro, these are the kinds of things that could rank up. Now, again, this is something that you may not be able to do at least this fast on GPT or any other language model. This is because YouTube is owned by Google. One of the biggest search engines is Google, and then followed by YouTube. So you have a lot of power when you use something by Google. I'm not saying that you should not be using GPT, because I still use GPT more than Google. But after Gemini, I've been moving more and more to Bard. I've been finding it more integrated with the tools that I already use, like Gmail and YouTube and Google Drive and so forth. So that being said, let's do something cool again. So what we'll do is, I was looking at this AI report, so 2023 state of AI in 14 charts, and then there's all of these data points, all of these data charts. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, just save the image, okay, and then I'm going to go back to Bard. I'm going to upload the image, and what I'm going to say is, this is a new image, I haven't uploaded it yet. Summarize the data from this image into a table format. Okay, very simple and straightforward prompt. We are able to upload an image, which is a good capability to have, and then we've asked the tool to summarize the data from the image into a table format. Now, this might be available with some other language learning models, but once the data comes in, I will show you exactly why I would prefer to do it inside Bard versus doing it outside. It's taking a bit longer than what it usually does. I've tested this with a few more entries. So this is what it comes up with, right? Which is the data points inside the chart. So I'm just going to click on this image. So you have 2017, 59, 2018, 82, and so forth. Let's go back. So the data is correct, right? Now, apart from the summary, it also says key points from the table. The number of AI incidents and controversies has been steadily increasing, blah, 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 da, 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 right? So all of that information is there. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and export to Sheets. And this creates a Google Sheet for me. And since I work inside the Google Workspace, this is a feature that I cannot find anywhere else. And I enjoy this because, there is a lot of data that I can convert from Google Bard, not even, even without uploading an image. If I just say, if I just copy paste random text of data from a CSV or something and then convert it to a sheet. So if I ask Google for data, so list the top 10 countries of the world by the population, something simple, or even something more advanced, list the top 10 startup nations of the world by the investments that they have. So depending on which ecosystem you're working with, which industry you're working with, and then use that to make a table adding the let's say you want to decide where to live or where to retire, quality of life, cost of living in the above countries. What I am looking for to retire is a good quality of life with a low cost of living, right? So things like those, I mean, of course, your personal use case will be different, but things like those, you get all of those data points, and I'm not sure where it's going to fetch the quality of life and cost of living, but it does, right? So this is the quality of life and cost of living in some of the most populated countries. I'm assuming that the quality of life is not going to be the best if there are too many people. But yeah, there's of course United States at 132, 124, whatever these numbers. And then it says, okay, these are the data sources, Numbeo, which is one of my favorite websites as well. So I'm okay with this data. But then the beauty is that you can actually export it to Sheets, which you cannot do with something like GPT. Of course, you'll have to copy paste and then go into the Sheets, right? So that's another one. Let's see, what else do we have? Then we have design reviews and Google Maps. These are the other 2 points that I wanted to discuss. So let's open a new chat. Let's say I have made a design. So I'm just going to open something from here. So I had recently designed a cover for my book. Now it's launched and I went ahead with this version. Let's ask it, how is this design for my book cover? So if you're a designer, like I run a marketing agency, so we often have designs that we send out to clients. And before that, I could actually see what are the strengths and areas for improvement in the image. So this is the image that I uploaded. This is the book cover. It says, okay, it's eye-catching. The bright yellow and the blue, etc. The colors, the subtitle clearly communicates the ultimate guide to full funnel growth. So it's actually reading that small subtitle, which you cannot actually see, the ultimate guide to full funnel growth. So it's reading that and then it's saying this is a good one, right? Professional layout, generic. Now areas for improvement, I have a rocket taking off in the background, which is too generic, which makes sense. The small font size for the author bio. So then in the back, there is an author bio. It's actually seeing that the author bio font size is pretty small, right? And it's also telling me the ideas that I could improve on. So I just uploaded the image. Now I got all of this. What I could do is I could make it more professional if I wanted, or make it simpler and then just pass it on to my designer. I just don't want to give too much information to my designer. So I can make it simpler, copy it and Slack it to my designer or email it to my designer. I can actually ask it to write this as an email response to my designer. So all of those things can be done here as well. But I could write it. It's much simpler. However, there are some areas of improvement. So it's written in a nice diplomatic way. I hope this feedback is helpful. So I don't really have to spend time now in writing this email to my designer, right? So this is another thing that I really enjoy doing in Google Bard. Then the last one that I had for you guys was the Google Maps. And this is an example of, actually I was planning a trekking trip. Let me show you guys that one. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Okay, let me start a new one. Okay. So I did this, okay. Plan a trekking trip in Himachal Pradesh in India for a week and list the places that can be seen along with the directions and distances between them and the time it would take to travel. So all of that data is available with Google Maps, right? You can see the places, the distances between places, how much time it takes to go from one place to another. This is a beautiful way to plan a trip or to even write, blogs and itineraries. You could literally just write a travel blog based on this information. And it gives me some information about Himachal Pradesh is known as the land of gods. Day 1, start your journey here. In the evening, take a taxi. It takes so much time. Then go there. Now you can actually trust this data because it's coming from Google Maps. You can also make sure that share the Google Maps for the directions, right? So you can also make sure that you get the accurate directions from one place to another by tagging Google Maps like this. So share the Google Maps with the direction, so it's going to give you the Google Maps. So that integration again is something which is unique to Google Bard, and of course with Gemini it becomes way more powerful. And those are like the 5 prompts that I wanted to share with you. And here you have your 6-day trip with a link to the directions to Google Maps right here, okay? And of course I'm going to definitely do this checking. I love the Himachal Pradesh, and I've been here a couple of times, but I do want to see some new places and see how it goes. So that's all for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed this, and check out these new ways to use Google Bard. I'm going to now use Google Bard to write a title and a description and help me design a thumbnail for this video before I put this video on YouTube. Till then, enjoy and wait for the next video. Ciao. Bye.